Hello everyone, this is Hakaym and welcome back to another episode of Funday Sunday, and we have kind of an interesting video for you guys today. So this video is going to be a two-parter. We're already starting off with this first one, and we're pretty much about 5 minutes into this battle right now. And I'm in the Akatsuki, and then the next video, well, it's going to be a little bit more fun. Now this battle is probably a good example of how one ship can turn the tide of a battle, and not always in damage dealing, but in positioning. So as you can see, I'm in the Akatsuki, and our team has already lost 3 ships. There is a carrier in this game, and currently, as far as we know, there's no ships really close to their cap. You can kind of guess what's about to happen. Now, capping in World of Warships takes quite a while. It takes about 3 minutes to fully cap out, but the only thing with it versus like World of Tanks, World of Warships, if a ship is very far away, and depending on the ship, it may not be able to reach back to the cap in time to reset it and possibly obviously lose. So keeping in this mind, that is why I'm taking a very long time to actually get in this cap. Now I'm trying to keep an eye on where all the different ships are. We finally take out that Fubuki. That Fubuki stayed alive for a long time, causing all manners of havoc. And timing is everything in this battle. Now I did mention there is a carrier. Obviously that is a major issue. The smoke on the Akatsuki is about 1:20 long, so if I do manage to start capping and get the cap down to around 1:20, should be able to maintain control. Now once again, timing is everything. As soon as I step on this cap, the enemy team is alerted that obviously someone is in their cap. And the only thing I really have to be concerned about is if a destroyer comes back, the CV comes back, or if a cruiser with radar comes back. Now our team wasn't in particularly amazing position. We were actually losing ground. We were losing ships quite readily. But as soon as I stepped onto this cap, it changed everything. And this is important. This is something you keep in mind. Because now, watch as the enemy team, how the enemy team reacts to the fact that I'm currently on their cap. Now there are a couple choices a team can do. Smartest choice would be send a few ships back and continue the push, not diverting a huge amount to defending this cap. The other option is everyone else coming back to reset the cap. Third option technically is there for the CV to do it. And I was expecting the CV, but as you can see on the minimap, he's currently down at G10 with his torpedo planes and not really reacting to this situation right here at the moment. But the fact that I am currently capping, and keep in mind we just lost 2 of our ships, so we're down 2 ships to the enemy team. Fortunately, they're about to lose their Nelson, but due to the fact that I'm on the cap, and this is something you can do in World of Warships, I've done it plenty of times in low tier, so much fun to do, is that you can essentially turn basically the tide of the battle. Because we were losing ground, but just look how the enemy team's reacting. Their Belfast is coming back, their Mahan is coming back, their other Baltimore is coming back, their CV is coming back. So that's already at least 3 ships reacting to the presence. And the Mahan has gone down. And the CV is coming in. And any moment now, I should be able to capture this out. I do pop my smoke screen. I have 35 seconds left on this cap. And hopefully we should actually manage to capture it with little issue. Now, the major issue right now is that other Baltimore. And like I said, timing is everything, and unfortunately for us, the Baltimore is obviously right there, plus the CV is still flying overhead. Look at this, 12 seconds, 11, 10. I had 9 seconds before capping out. Had I waited about 9 more seconds, that Baltimore may not have been in range to actually do anything, and we would have officially capped out. But because of how the enemy team's reacting, allows my friendly team to make a difference. Because look at this, they're both are Baltimore's, their Belfast and their CV are reacting to me. They've lost their Nelson. Their Friedrich really isn't that big of an issue. And I'm causing havoc. I mean, this is one good play a DD can do. Granted, honestly, I don't really get that much XP. I don't do that much damage. But the manner of the fact that this actually ensured more of a win allowed my team to kind of get back on their feet and do something. That Akatsuki is not particularly a stealthy vessel either, which is real major downside. But we're going to try our very best. Not likely we'll get out of this alive. That is due to the fact that the CV is around, and also this Akatsuki is kind of running out of space. But we're going to at least try to do as much damage as possible, as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, I think the CV is pretty much going to ruin our day. 298 points of health, and that is it for me. But that has allowed the team to kind of come back and push against the enemy team. They're all pretty much kind of spread out. Managed to get a torpedo hit on that Baltimore. The Lightning's by himself, getting chased down by Atlanta. So once again, timing and positioning is everything, especially on standard battle. And I've complained plenty of times regarding standard battle. I'm not a big fan of it, but in this instance, it worked in my favor. It allowed our team to kind of pull back, start focusing down individual targets like this Lightning, who is definitely doing his very best to try to stay alive and not die too formal in the Atlanta. But at the exact same time, this Baltimore is facing off against 3 ships. I have no idea where the Friedrich is. Their other Baltimore is very low on health, and probably in just a moment, Formal should just be able to finish off. Yep, there he goes. Finishes off the Lightning, and now the enemy team is down in ships, and essentially they're very limited on what they can do. Even the CV is getting in on this action. CV is going in to start attacking the ships that are alone. So, huge benefit of this. I just kind of want to show off because I thought it was kind of amusing. And slightly disappointed that I didn't get a full cap out. But it came very, very close. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and jump into the next video. And here is the second video. This video is showing off the Tier 7 New Orleans. Yeah. Yeah, I don't play this ship very much. I still think it's a decent ship. It's strong, especially since it now only faces Tier 9 ships at the highest versus what it used to face off at Tier 8. Definitely is still a strong boat, but I still love the Helena over the New Orleans. So I don't play the ship all too often. And it's going to show a few times my aim's going to be a little bit off. But it's still a strong boat. I am joined with Ski with New Orleans. And I believe Ski's in the Miyoko. Yes, he is. Now this battle, we are playing on Two Brothers. We are playing Domination, which I much rather prefer. And we are playing with a CV in the battle. And as you can see, it's actually kind of a light Tier 7. So definitely being top tier is extremely beneficial. Now this battle has, well, as you might be guessing, a player that talks big. We'll just say he talks big, at the very least. Now the New Orleans, as I did mention, is a very strong ship. It does have 203mm caliber AP shells, and they hit pretty darn hard. Now obviously the major downside of the New Orleans is the reload time, and obviously that very fragile broadside. So you do have to be extremely careful, but a bow in New Orleans can actually ricochet a decent amount of shells, so you do have that kind of going for you. and especially facing off against Omaha is, well, quite delightful. Unfortunately for me, once again, my aim's a bit off. Yeah, that's definitely my bad there. So being top tier in the New Orleans is extremely powerful, because New Orleans does devastating work, especially against a poor little Omaha. But unfortunately for me, or better yet, probably more so because of my bad aim, I'm not getting those beautiful citadels that I would ever so desperately love to actually achieve. Because this Omaha is going to get kind of away, get 4 of her penetrations, getting hit by the Atlanta that's over there. And once again, the New Orleans is a very good AA ship, so can do quite devastating work. There we go, finally got a citadel. Look at that damage. Nuremberg went down. 2 skis torpedoes. That was very fortunate. That means our team is definitely very much in the lead. Now the enemy team is kind of doing a lemming, and our team is kind of bottlenecking up on the A side, if you can look over there. Currently they're all southeast of A. All that little gap right there, facing off against the enemy team, who's predominantly going over to the western front. And at the moment, we have pretty much full control of the eastern right now. Even have a Furious coming in. That is obviously the Tier 6 Royal British carrier, facing off against the New Orleans. Generally, for the most part, can shred those planes. Unfortunately for us, we are going to take a torpedo, but that shouldn't be that big of an issue, because the damage isn't particularly amazing for the torpedoes, albeit though we did get at least a flooding, but do manage to repair that. And now that New Orleans is being a pesky little ship, fortunately he's firing AP, which is very amusing because my AP definitely does a lot more compared to his, getting a citadel on that Atlanta, making him very much scared of really pushing forward. Now our team, once again, is, I'm pretty certain, doing their very darndest to commit suicide and die as quickly as possible, because we have an Icarus pretty much facing off against 7 ships right now, and a Friedrich who's also facing off against the other 7. Icarus does manage to get the kill on the Alba, which is really nice because it does get a torpedo hit, and obviously we are being detected by the Atlanta. Now our team is taking their sweet time pushing up towards D. And I guess you could say positioning is also kind of important in this battle, because right now we have 2 choices. We can continue pushing, get the enemy team into crossfire, pushing into A, and then obviously dealing a fairly decent amount of damage against all those ships broadside. And I really don't know why this Atlanta really likes to fire its AP at targets that are pretty much bow on. Don't really know why, but we do manage to capture D, and we're gonna try to push onward. And look at that, DeGrasse fires torpedoes at, I'm assuming, the Atlanta, who, well, obviously is around the corner and very much outside the 9-kilometer range that the DeGrasse actually has. So I don't really know why he did drop those torpedoes, but fortunately the Königsberg manages to avoid the friendly torps with little to no issue. But our friendly team on the Western Front is having definitely the worst amount of luck. We're currently down 1 ship, and we're probably going to lose our Dallas and our galley. I think the galley actually does manage to get away. Omaha is taking a torpedo hit. Our CV is trying its very best, but also keep in mind of that CV right now, his positioning not particularly the greatest. Honestly, if I was him, I would probably be around J7, H7, that kind of area, pushing and following my friendlies up the Eastern Front. Now we have 2 choices right now. We can push back towards C, face the targets head on, possibly get some damage in, or we can try to push into A and obviously try to get a few broadside, try to get them in the crossfire, and that is what we're going to be doing. Now, if you're kind of keeping in mind of the chat right now, You might be noticing the one player that I did mention a little bit prior. No big deal, but we'll see how things progress and try to deal with the enemy team. The enemy team is very much in the lead. They do have obviously 2 capture points. They are ahead in points. They are ahead in ships. They still have their DD, and right now our fairly main force is on that western side. Could easily push down towards C, because at the moment our team's not particularly in a position to really deal that much damage, especially considering we have 5 ships on the eastern front, while the rest of our ships are currently being focused. But I will have to say the enemy team does take a little bit of time to actually push south, which does give us a little bit more time to actually do something about that. And once again, leading with the New Orleans guns requires quite a bit, especially against a Bajoni that is 15.3 kilometers away, so do have to keep it in mind. But once again, broadside Bajoni, well, generally means a citadel. Unfortunately, that's not to be the case, but he is actually taking hits. He does slow up. Gneisenau does get a decent hit there, but the Gneisenau is actually pushing into C and into B, and is starting to capture it, which is gonna very much kind of help us because we are definitely down in points at the moment. And in a moment now, we should be able to do a little bit more damage. Once again, the enemy team is just taking their time. They're definitely taking their time pushing in towards C or reacting to the fact there is a force behind them. Now we do know that there are some ships still kind of around. I do point out that the CV needs to probably turn the other direction and get out of there. And it does look like he is somewhat reacting. Now, currently, myself, I have 2 different choices to actually do. I can continue pushing around towards A and just essentially chase the enemy players, which honestly is not going to be doing that big of a job, or pushing down the middle of 2 brothers. And this is generally when you want to be doing this, usually not at the beginning of the battle, like some players like to do. That is kind of a little bit popular on YouTube at the moment. So we're gonna push down when pretty much the time is right, because if they do push into C, they're more than likely going to be showing quite a bit of broadside that with these 203mm USN shells, they're going to deal a significant amount of damage. Now I am going to give up capping of A, obviously having those 3 into B right now. Why? I can't keep it in my mind that it's actually the B cap and not the A or C cap. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, we're going to have a little bit of fun. This is where it kind of gets interesting. Now, keep in mind of how many citadels we're currently at. 3 citadels right now. We're sitting at about 31,592 points of damage. Isn't too bad. Not too bad. We do manage to kind of take out that Omaha. Good. Their meal is very low on health. And it's actually very surprising that their Emil, or better yet, sorry, our Dallas and the Galley actually managed to kind of hold them off for such an extended period of time. That has allowed us to really kind of push in, and then lo and behold, a enemy Belfast pops up. This close to New Orleans. Oh boy. This is going to be exciting. See if we can push into the C cap and get the jump on the Belfast. Taking our time, no need to rush. Now once again, Belfast can actually do significant amount of AP damage against us as well, especially this broadside as we are. And this is when the Belfast realizes he's in kind of a terrible position. No real way to turn. Get a beautiful citadel there. And let's see if we can get a few more on this Belfast. Look at that double sit. Can we finish him off? Gonna go ahead and kind of keep battling. Once again, the Belfast could actually switch over AP. Had he had more of my broadside, probably would have finished me off no problem. Double Citadel, that is one dead Belfast, and that's when I realized I am also broadside to a Bajani, turning the other way as quickly as possible. Atlanta pops up as well, and well, look at this. Atlanta, good night. Triple Citadel on the Atlanta, kill number 2. But Johnny is still broadside, waiting for those guns to reload. Once again, it goes take such a long time to reload. Do manage to finish off that Bajani with a double Citadel, and that has boosted our Citadel up to a whopping 13 Citadels. So we gained 10 Citadels in probably less than a couple minutes. Nothing too overly impressive, but still very exciting all the same. Do manage to take out 3 ships in a very quick span, and obviously the enemy team is not in a position to do very much else. And kind of surprising, this Gneisenau is completely and utterly ignoring me. Target selecting is probably not of his particularly highest, because he could probably whip around and actually get pretty good hits on me, but by the time he does, I'm actually going to be able to get around behind the island and not take any more damage. And that's pretty much going to be it for this video. Very little else I can do. Just going to get a little bit more damage and earn, obviously, Confederate. So, not a bad battle in New Orleans. Was starting off kind of bad, but we do manage to get it turned around. And that is going to be it for this videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button. You guys have a great and fantastic day. Side Gen.